Hey guys, what's up? It's munclesonkey and welcome to my loot from 500 Bandos Kills. I decided to do 500 Bandos Kills because the spawn rates were buffed in God Wars Dungeon recently and you can kill Bandos quite fast. And I was a big fan of that because I've never been a big fan of God Wars Dungeon, mainly because of the slow spawn rates and having to hop worlds between each kill, and that was just very annoying. But in the past I have done a loot from 500 Saradomin and I've also done a loot from 500 Zamorak. And if you want to check out those videos, I will have links to them on the screen and possibly in the description as well. But unlike those videos, I actually got a substantial amount of loot from Bandos, which is good because Bandos items right now are so ridiculously cheap, and also they're crashing at the moment because of the update, of course, that if you want to make good money at Bandos, you kind of have to get extremely lucky. I'm not sure if it made a difference at all, but I actually wore a Ring of Wealth during my Bandos kills during this entire 500, and I've never really done that before. I typically more tend to stick with either the 6-stage circuit or the Ring of Vigor, depending on which situation I'm in for PvMing and stuff. I actually went with the Ring of Wealth this time though, and it ended up paying off in a big way. My drop rate throughout these 500 kills was about 1 in 40 instead of the typical God Wars Dungeon 1 in 60 to 1 in 65. I'm not really exactly sure what the rate is, but it's around that mid 60s in most people's mind typically. My personal favorite thing about doing God Wars Dungeon and Bandos in particular isn't really the drops, it's more actually the XP that you get. The XP was really good. The combat XP was about 600k an hour. That's attack and HP as well, just because you can kill Bandos really fast and he gives a pretty good XP drop when you will kill him, and also he spawns so quickly as well. You can just get a ton of kills per hour. I was averaging about 70 Bandos kills per hour, and I wasn't even using Zerk. If I was, I probably would have averaged more than that. The reason why I didn't use Zerk is because it was incredibly laggy, and Bandos can, get some lucky combos in every once in a while and hit, back-to-back 3000s while you're Zerked, and, I didn't really want to deal with that stress. But anyway, combat XP, very good. Also, the effigy rate was pretty decent. It wasn't quite an effigy an hour, but in about 7 hours of Bandos killing, I managed to pick up 5 effigies, which is pretty decent, and I found this at the Saradomin God Wars Dungeon doing that as well fairly recently. I managed to get a good amount of effigies doing Saradomin, and so God Wars in general, just because the God Wars bosses are very high level, they're around level 600 each, although their levels do differentiate. The effigy drop rate is really good because you can kill them so incredibly fast. So I didn't show any of the effigies, I believe, or I showed one of them, I guess, but anyway, I did manage to pick up 5 effigies, so in total every effigy is a little bit over 100k XP, so I got around 600k XP. In skills, I typically don't train because I'm not much of a skiller. Just from those effigies alone, so that was really nice, and also a load of attack XP. So as you can see, in total, I got about 4 chest plates and 4 tassets, so I got really lucky with the more high-valued Bandos drops. It would have sucked to get lucky with the drops, but then get lots of war shields and hilts. Although I did pick up a couple hilts, and overall I think the loot was pretty good, but unfortunately this boss is not really worth doing in my opinion, and I probably won't be going back here other than just to finish off getting a war shield drop, because I still need to get that, and I also need to get Bandos gloves for a future series. Overall, Bandos was fun while it lasted, but I wouldn't recommend to do this for money for anyone that has access to better money making methods such as GWD or Calfight King, because you're just not going to make as much here, although the combat XP is really good if you're interested in that. Alright guys, so now we go into the final price check of the 500 Bandos kills, and I gotta say, I got a lot of items. I got 13 items and 500 kills, well, technically 520 kills because I went a little bit over by mistake. I wasn't trying to, I just wasn't keeping the best track, I suppose. So I got 13 drops and 520 kills, which is about a 1 in 40 drop rate. Now Bandos' drop rate is more like 1 in 60, so you could probably expect about 2/3 of the Bandos drops, so more along the lines of 8 or 9 Bandos drops instead of 13, but hey, I ended up actually getting lucky during the loot video, which is pretty awesome, I must say. So all the non-Bandos specific drops add up to be a little over 18 mil, which is pretty nice. I will be taking away 14.5 mil from the final price check, so whatever I make at the very end minus 14.5 mil is going to be the total profit, because I split 12.5 mil with the friend that I was duoing with, and then I also spent 2 mil on instances, 2 of the instances I got DC'd and lost an instance and had to buy another one, so that was really frustrating. But anyway, that's pretty good. And then if we add in the Bandos items, the GE price is not going to be completely correct because the Bandos items have been crashing, but it does come out to a total of 77.7 mil, and I will sell them to see the actual value of the price check, so I'll go ahead and do that now. And as I kind of assumed, the Bandos items sold for well under the GE price. The Bandos tassets mid were like 4 mil more, Bandos tassets were 5 mil more, Bandos chest plates were 4 mil more, and the Bandos boots, I believe, were 1 mil more than the GE price. So, of course, that's going to happen every single time there's an update. There's a lot of panic selling that goes on, and we should be used to it by this point. So, we got 53 mil in cash. That is from the sale of all the Bandos items, in addition to the coins that I got from God Wars Dungeon. We'll price check all of this, and I'll give you guys a fairly decent money rate per hour, I suppose. So, we throw this all into the price checker, and it's going to come out to about 69 mil. So, of course, I have to take away 14.5 mil of that from the money that I split with a friend of mine that we were doing, and also the money that I spent on the instances. 69.5 mil is the total split. Also, it took me a little over 7 hours to kill all the Bandoses, and if I add in all the time it took to bank and gear up and get kill count, and the couple times I DC'd and had to spend some time getting my internet working again, we'll say it took 8 hours total to do these 500 Bandos kills. So that comes to a total of about 7 mil per hour. So even though I got pretty lucky with the Bandos, it still would have been better money just to kill QBD. And in hindsight, I think that we can safely say, even with the buffed God Wars Dungeon spawn rates, it's still not worth doing. For example, if you have like Ascension crossbows and Dragonbane bolts and good gear, you know, and you can do QBD and make 8 mil an hour, because it still is possible to make that much at pretty much max gear going max speed. So, you know, even if you were to do God Wars Dungeon, you did not get lucky, you'd make a lot less than this, and that would just make it less doing. So, in conclusion, God Wars Dungeon is still not worth doing, even with the buffed spawn rates. So, go there for fun if you like, but if you're really focusing on making money, I would not recommend doing God Wars Dungeon, at least not Bandos. It remains to be seen whether the other God Wars bosses are better for drops, but I kind of doubt it. Anyway, that's about all for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and farewell.